the human mind, AI. Let us combine intelligence with empathy and let us build a better future for all. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mukesh Dhirubhai.
Thank you. It's a huge honor to be here today with so many of my esteemed colleagues from industry, academia, and government. And congratulations to Prime Minister Modi and the Indian government on convening such an impressive summit at this very pivotal moment for AI. It's fantastic to see how the summit has evolved over the years, with the first meeting convened by Prime Minister Sunak at Bletchley Park in the UK. It's become an incredibly important convening point for international dialogue and hopefully cooperation in the future over the future of AI. When we started DeepMind in 2010, almost nobody was working on AI in industry. It was just a dream. And it's been incredible to see how in the last 15 years, where we've come from the beginnings, those humble beginnings, to now where we are today, where the whole world is talking about AI. The reason I've spent my whole career working on AI is I always believed it would be one of the most important and beneficial technologies ever invented. And for me, my passion is to advance scientific discovery. And I always felt that AI would be the ultimate tool for accelerating scientific discovery and being a force multiplier for human ingenuity. From a very young age, I've been obsessed with the Greek questions of science, the nature of reality, the nature of consciousness, these deep mysteries that are in the universe. And I think AI can help us find answers to these questions that we pondered over for thousands of years. We're already starting to see the beginnings of this with systems like AlphaFold that we built to solve the 50-year grand challenge of protein folding. And we hope that this will just be the first example of amazing advances in science and medicine that have been enabled by AI. And we and others are working on many other branches of science now to bring AI tools to help advance material science, fusion, physics, and mathematics. In fact, almost every branch of science and medicine can be impacted by AI. And now in 2026, we're another threshold moment where AGI, artificial general intelligence, is on the horizon, maybe within the next 5 years. And we're seeing these general purpose systems, foundational model systems, becoming increasingly capable almost week by week. So this is obviously an amazing opportunity that we should all grasp, economic and productivity, as well as in the sciences. But it's also something that we have to approach with humility and understanding that we don't have all the answers yet as to how this technology is going to develop and to be deployed into the world. I've been really impressed with what I've seen in India. I spent some time prior to the summit in Bangalore. We have a really big office there, Google and DeepMind, a great research office where we do some really critical research that we then bring to our products and our technologies around the world in areas like efficient models, continual learning, and multilingual capabilities. I also had time to give a talk at the Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore, and I was incredibly impressed by the students and the faculty there, their enthusiasm and their energy for AI, and their ideas for how to use AI to improve India standing in the world, and to also seize all the new economic opportunities and scientific opportunities that AI opens up. It was incredibly impressive to see the energy around the country. And I think that India will indeed be a powerhouse for AI across the globe. We have many partnerships. Sundar, you heard Sundar announce many Google partnerships that we have with India. I'm especially proud of our deep partnership with Mr. Ambani and the Reliance Jio group to bring intelligence to everyone in India with our Gemini foundation models in partnership with Reliance. So we hope to build on that in the next few years. So if I was to try and quantify what's coming down the line with the advent of AGI, I think it's going to be one of the most momentous periods in human history, probably something more like the advent of fire or electricity. One way maybe we can quantify that is, I think it's going to be something like 10 times the impact of the Industrial Revolution, but happening at 10 times the speed, probably unfolding in a matter of a decade rather than a century. So really, this is an enormous amount of change is going to come, and it's still to be written how we can make that beneficial for the whole world. And I think the main way we should try to do this is by taking a scientific approach, using the scientific method to understand what the capabilities of these systems are, to build good guardrails and monitoring systems, to understand more deeply what these systems are capable of, and how we can make sure that they serve the purposes that we want. And then, of course, simultaneously, we also have to be bold to grasp these new opportunities to advance science and medicine and to improve human health and the human condition that society and the globe badly needs. So I think we've got to try and navigate this moment very carefully, very thoughtfully. And if we do so, I'm very optimistic that we'll usher in a great new era. But of course, this can't just be left to technologists, and that's why summits like this are really important, to bring together all parts of society, the technologists that are building it, the scientists that are building it, governments and how to deploy it for the best use of their citizens, but also artists, social scientists, and philosophers. We need to bring all of these debates into the tent to understand how we should navigate this next period in human history. And I think summits like this, international summits like this, are critical to encourage this kind of international dialogue and cooperation. And if we get this right, these next steps right, I think we can usher in a new golden era of scientific discovery and improve the lives and health of everyone in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Hassabis, for your very profound and illuminating address. We really thank you. Sincere gratitude to your address. Ladies and gentlemen, and now I would like to invite Mr. Vishal Sikka. He's the founder and CEO of VNI. As CEO of Infosys, Vishal Sikka had led one of the most ambitious transformations in Indian IT history before leaving to build VNI, a company focused on human-centered artificial intelligence. He is a computer scientist by training, a philosopher by temperament. He is one of the most original thinkers of the intersection of AI and enterprise. Please welcome the founder and CEO of VNI, Mr. Vishal Sikka.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Wow, wonderful introduction, and what an amazing event. I want to share 3 points from a long time that I have spent in AI. My first point is that what we see today in the world of AI, people who know what they are doing with AI are astonishingly effective with AI. Recently, a friend of mine, he and I were students together at Stanford. He has a large service that he runs, open public service. That service was built by 15 people, very world-class engineers, over 9 months. recently he rebuilt that service entirely by himself in 14 days using one of the generative AI coding tools. So if you are counting, that is about a more than 250 times improvement in productivity. Now he's a genius and not everyone gets a 250 times productivity gain, but you will see that people who understand how to use AI are astonishingly effective with it. And I had a similar experience recently with a customer of mine who is a distributor of home goods, and one of their main suppliers shut down their factories in one of their countries. And they did analysis using our product, all kinds of simulation scenarios. And over a few days, they reached the decision that they need to exit that country entirely. I asked him, such a monumental decision to get out of an entire country, how long would that have taken you before? And he said easily it would have taken a year, and it would have involved heavy duty consultants and things like that. So we now have instant access to knowledge in any language, a condensation of things that we can present in any way. It is an incredible power. And yes, it is deeply disruptive to the ways that we have worked before, the way that we have done things in the past. But at the same time, and even more importantly, we can do unprecedented things with this, things that we could never do before. So this astonishing effectiveness, and Joshua referred to this as a jagged frontier, it is not uniform. Not everyone sees this. So that's my second point. Being effective with AI requires not only a knowledge of AI itself, but understanding its limitations and how to overcome those limitations. There is a huge gap between LLMs and the business users inside enterprises especially, and how to bring value to those users. And overcoming that gap is where a lot of value creating opportunity is. Bridging that gap requires delivering correct systems, trusted, verifiable, reliable systems that deliver value to people. My own company works in this area, a layer that sits above the language models and delivers value to business users while ensuring correctness and things like that. When we overcome that gap, we can deliver massive value. Mukesh Bhai talked about it just now. We can transform every existing system, legacy systems, enormous complexities inside enterprises can be removed, industries can be transformed. We can give end users wings, we can amplify them to deliver things that were not possible to do before, or in the best case, it required professionals to do this. Doing that also requires not just overcoming the limitations of AI, but also imagination to see what is not there, to see what is possible. India has all of this in great abundance. The Honorable Prime Minister has called for 1 billion entrepreneurs, people who can overcome these and deliver value using AI. And I think this is exactly what the world needs and what India has the potential for. My third point is that we not only have to master today's AI, but we have to leapfrog it. AI today has enormous limitations. I have worked in AI for the last 38 years. One of our scriptures is Bhaj Govindam. It was written by the Shankaracharya, and it has a beautiful line. Samprapte sannihite kale, nahi nahi rakshati dukrin karane. What it means is that when you are faced with a life or death situation, the knowledge of a book does not help you. Knowledge without wisdom does not save us. That wisdom comes from living, from doing, from being in the world. AI today has plenty of limitations. Joshua mentioned hallucinations. That's one of the main issues blocking the use of AI in enterprises. But beyond hallucinations, understanding the world, understanding physical activities, um, the physical movement, this is one of the next frontiers. Safety, safety of AI, and the Honorable Prime Minister talked about this today, is an existential issue. Swarms of agents can be made to do completely reckless things, and we don't yet have ways to understand or deal with this. And Joshua and Demis also talked about this. We have to solve this issue. We have to deliver AI that is safe. We have done this with nuclear power for the last 80 plus years. We can and we must do this with AI. Energy is another one of these issues. Where I live in California on Highway 101, just north of San Tomas, I drive by there every time I go to see my dad. There is a massive data center that is coming up. It's 720 megawatts. And this idea that I write a prompt and these gazillion GPUs blast into existence to produce a response, and then I make a tiny change to that prompt and then I do that again, it just seems like a completely absurd idea, especially to someone who has been around AI for such a long time. I have, thanks to the Ministry of IT, Honorable Ashwini Vaishnavji, I have a colleague who has been accompanying me throughout this conference. And he told me that yesterday he walked 32,000 steps. And I asked him, what did you eat? And he said, I ate 2 burgers. Shubham, if you're here, 2 burgers. You know, we normally eat 2,000 calories in a day. That's about a 100-watt light bulb, like less than one of these light bulbs. And out of that, our brain, our nervous system is maybe 15, 20 watts. That's like when your laptop is in sleep mode, it takes more power than that. So there are many zeros still to be removed from these models, and the models themselves have to be removed. So I think that there is a tremendous opportunity here. India is a country of the human potential. We have plenty of times before delivered the ability to billion plus Indians. Mukesh Bhai talked about Geo, and Sunil talked about Airtel, and how now we have billion plus Indians who have data and connectivity. And when I was young, one of my earliest childhood memories is of worry in my parents' faces around food. They used to tell stories of how there was a shortage of food. And then the Green Revolution happened, and India is now one of the largest exporters of food in one generation. So I think that when you look at the time of intelligence, it is not only an opportunity to learn about this technology, to learn to master this technology, to understand its limitations, but to leapfrog that and to build the next generation of it. And as this summit so vividly demonstrates, we can be on our way to a human revolution powered by AI, by good AI, by purposeful AI, where every one of us, a billion entrepreneurs, is not just making a living, but is making a life. Not some artificial life or some artificial general life, but our own life and the life of others. And that would be so much fun to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sika, for your profound and very interesting remarks. And of course, your work at VNI also exemplifies the transformative potential of artificial intelligence. And with this movement on the stage, you can make out that now we are heading into a fireside conversation. And well, this would be a remarkable conversation we're going to have with Mr. Nandan Nilekani, co-founder and chairman Infosys, and Dario Amodei, founder of Anthropic. And before I invite our guests on the stage, let me say a few words about Mr. Nandan Nilekani, who is the architect of Aadhaar, the world's largest biometric identity system, and the intellectual godfather of India's digital public infrastructure movement. Nandan Nilekani has spent decades proving that technology built in the public interest can transform entire societies, and Aadhaar is a big example before the world. His thinking on artificial intelligence and open digital ecosystems is essential reading for anyone serious about this field. So, ladies and gentlemen, I would now invite Mr. Nandan Nilekani and Mr. Dario Amode for this conversation, which is being moderated by Mr. Rahul Mathan, partner Tri Legal. I invite all our three guests on the stage. Please welcome our guests on the stage. Thank you.
Nandan, Dario, welcome, Dario. Great speech in the morning. You mentioned that we are in the end of or towards the end of the exponential. This is something that you spoke about in Machines of Loving Grace, that we would have a country of geniuses in a data center. And the models over the last, I guess, 2 months have been sort of giving us a sense that we're getting there. But in your podcast with Dwarkesh, you sort of walked that back a bit by saying, we may reach a country of geniuses in a data center, but the impact on society will take a long time. Can you explain what that means? Because we thought we'd do AGI and we would be finished and done with it.
Yeah, thank you for having us, Rahul. I would say there is this duality between the fundamental capabilities of the technology and the time that it takes for those capabilities to diffuse into the world, right? We're getting models that are very good at software engineering, that are increasingly good at, biomedical innovation. We're not there yet, but we're on this very fast exponential. But when I look across the world and I look across the enterprises of the world, we have many enterprises as customers. Even if we freezed in place what the technology was capable of today, I think the economic impact could be much greater than it is, because it just takes time. There are just frictions to adopt things through enterprises, and I think even more so in the developing world. And when I visited Infosys, one of the things I talked about with Nandan was we're both obviously very interested in making sure that this technology gets to everyone, and Nandan has devoted a big part of his life to many things in that direction, and has built out India's digital public infrastructure. And so I think this question of diffusion is very tied to the question of how do we make sure that everyone benefits.
So when the foundation models came, Nandan, you said that we should do use cases. And it sounds like Dario is saying the same thing, that even if we do the foundation model, we will still need to do use cases.
No, I think it's great what the foundations models are doing and the speed of evolution. But what we have learned is that diffusion of technology is a different ballgame. And how do you get technology to 1 billion people? And I think India, we have a little bit of experience with that. 1.4 billion people on Aadhaar, 500 million people on UPI, 20 billion transactions a month, the world's largest cash transfer system, the largest financial inclusion system, you name it, all that stuff. And we learned that diffusion is a technique. It's both an art and a science. It involves institutions, it involves policy making, negotiations, dealing with incumbents, dealing with newcomers, strategies for execution. So the whole, trust building, so a whole host of things. And I think if all the investments in AI are going to deliver the value to society, not to just to individuals, we'll have to look at diffusion pathways to take this to everyone. And I think India will lead on that. That's why I've always been saying that India should focus on becoming the use case capital of the world.
Dario, you had a more recent essay, which you call The Adolescence of Technology, which is a little more somber. Spoke a little bit about sort of dimming the enthusiasm of the first essay. And I want you to perhaps unpack that a little bit. We all have spoken about the risks of the technology, but particularly in the global south, where we think that AI is going to be hugely beneficial for us, we perhaps will have a different calculus on the risk reward ratio. What do you think about that, and how would
Yeah.
your essay address that?
I think that's an insightful comment, which is that I think in the global south there's an opportunity for AI to accelerate catch-up growth, to solve a bunch of problems that are in the way of catch-up growth. And so the I think AI is a technology that has big risks and big benefits, but in the global south the benefits may be even bigger than they are anywhere else. But at the same time, that doesn't mean, of course, that the risks aren't real. We kind of, India is the world's largest democracy. We need to think about how democracies handle AI, and how we confront other countries that are authoritarian. That's one of the risks I talk about. Another risk I talk about is making sure that AI systems are safe and predictable, and autonomously behave in a way that's under our control. And everyone in the world has to worry about that. That affects everyone in the world. And then, I think of particular relevance to India is, the concerns I raised around economic displacement, right? Where, I think the signature of this technology is going to be that it greatly grows the economic pie for the whole world. And again, huge upside because of the opportunity for catch-up growth. Like, growth can be very, very fast. But there things are going to change, and there's some potential for disruption. And I think what I've been thinking about as I visited India these last few days, and the last time I visited, is how can we work together with the companies in India to kind of drive this growth for everyone, to make sure that the existing companies, large and small, continue to prosper along with us and the other makers of AI. And also on a philanthropic basis, how we make sure that the benefits reach everyone, both in an economic sense, in a health sense, in kind of other senses. So I think India is, it kind of offers a particularly keen distillation of especially the benefits, but also the risks.
Nandan, you've had experience with an adolescent technology with the whole DPI. In the early days of DPI, it was challenging. There were challenges with getting the big vision, which of course now we're looking at, and in hindsight it looks like it was easy, but the early days was difficult. So, as the father of a mature technology, would you want to give the father of an adolescent some advice?
I know that makes me a grandfather. So I think when you talk about diffusion, and you have to think of AI. Everybody agrees is like a general purpose technology. Like people give the simile to fire or electricity or whatever. It's about starting from the user and how can we improve their lives. How can we take 1 billion people and help them to learn better? How can we take 1 billion people and give them better healthcare? How can we take 500 million farmers and improve their earnings? You have to start from there and then figure out how to make it happen. And it's not just technology. Technology is just one piece of the puzzle. It's about institutions. It's about trust building. It's about negotiations. It's about guardrails, which Dario mentioned. It's about working with different stakeholders and making them go towards a common vision. So it's diffusion is difficult. It's not a simple task. So I feel that India will demonstrate this because we have the experience of diffusion at population scale in all the various areas. And obviously, diffusion of AI, there are some differences that we need to think about, data, guardrails, and so on. But I think we can build a pathway or multiple pathways to that goal. And that will show the world, because I believe right now in AI, there's a race to the top and a race to the bottom. And the race to the bottom is faster than the race to the top. So I think all of us who have a stake in AI being useful to humanity have to accelerate and redouble our efforts to make the diffusion happen. Otherwise, the consequences are going to be very, very difficult, because there's going to be a backlash. If the only thing that AI does is create deep fakes or raise the price of your power bill or all the other things that are happening, people are going to respond. I mean, the resentment of the blue collar worker led to the train wreck of globalization. The resentment of the white collar worker is going to lead to the train wreck of AI. So I think we really have to work very hard to show profound, useful cases of AI.
Dario, you were in India in October, and you're back again now. You spend a lot of time actually with the developer community. You clearly were impressed because you've come back so quickly. Could you tell us a little bit about, what your experience is with how India is building and using AI? Perhaps just go through the stack. I mean, enterprise, small business, startups, then developers. What's different about the way India does it?
Yeah, so I would say there's just an excitement here and technical acumen, and we can even see it in the statistics of usage of Claude. Use of Claude for technical kind of programming and software engineering, mathematical tasks. The fraction is substantially higher here in India than it is in most other places in the world. And every time I go to speak at one of these, we'll host these builder or developer events in India, just there's a lot of excitement. I can feel the brimming excitement of like, what is something that we can build in just the last 4 months. The use of Claude and Claude Code has doubled. Has doubled in India, and I'm sure it's the same for the other. I don't say that to promote Claude and Claude Code. Like, it's more a statement about the kind of excitement in India on the enterprise level. I mean, the two of us just announced a partnership just yesterday. So we're really excited to work with all the large enterprises in India. They know much more about the Indian market. They know much more about distribution. They know how to serve enterprises within India, and they're much better at that than we are. And can we plug our technology into what they do, and create something that kind of wins for both sides, right? We would like to be able to jointly win with the companies in India. And then finally, I think there's another element that's almost unique, which is that there's an excitement to build, but there's an excitement to build for public good and for philanthropic benefits. So, Nandan kindly introduced me to the XStep Foundation, of course, builds digital infrastructure, and we've already started to work on a number of projects really to reach people in rural areas. We're trying to combine Claude with something called Open AgriNet, which helps farmers in rural regions to kind of find better information and better advice to be more effective and efficient. And we're looking to expand that a great deal. So I think that's something totally unique to India. And that through folks in the private sector, we would get connected to these efforts, and there would be mutual enthusiasm to promote these efforts.
And you, of course, have an office. You've declared a managing director. But actually, more importantly, Sonnet 4.6, which dropped yesterday, very inconveniently, so I couldn't try it, apparently is doing very well on 10 Indic languages. So there seems to be a bit of a focus in your development as well on India. Can you tell me why that's important, why language, cultural context is important, and what India can play, what role it can play in that?
Yeah, so language models have always been multilingual, but of course they're better at languages than that they've been trained more on. And of course, as I learned when I first came here, India has a very long tail of regional languages, and we see this as something related to access, something related to making we provide benefits for everyone, right? If we can only speak the most common languages, then there's a long tail we're not reaching, right? The farmers that we mentioned, many of them speak one of the less common regional languages, and so we put in place a push, collaborating with folks in India to acquire more data for this long tail of Indic languages, and Sonnet 4.6 represents an improvement. We're not all the way there yet. We want these models to be as good, even far out in the long tail of these languages as they are at speaking English. And we're making progress towards that. We're not there yet, but we want to keep going.
And then after you built DPI, I mean, I say after, like as if you stopped, you still continue to do it. But after you did the bulk of the work, you spent some time and effort actually taking it out to other countries. And I was wondering whether you've thought about that for AI. And,
Sure.
as it's been mentioned so many times today that this is the first AI summit in the global south. And so I think perhaps countries of the global south, if there's a model, as it were, for doing this, would benefit from those ideas. So as you think about it, is it costs? Is it skill? Is it data? Infrastructure? What is it that countries need to think about for
No,
this?
sure. No, finally, it's about a lived experience. If you've done it, you can do it better next time. So, what we did in the DPI part, the digital public infrastructure, is that after several years of that experience, we worked with global philanthropists, set up something called Co-Develop, and said, let's take DPI global. And today, we have some version of DPI running in about 40 countries around the world. We recently had a summit in Cape Town where we had 1,200 delegates from 109 countries. So it's become a global movement, and we feel that AI has to be, if AI has to really be impactful, we need something similar. So yesterday we just launched something called 100 diffusion pathways by 2030. We like to have targets. So
Can you explain that?
yeah, so the idea is that a diffusion pathway is basically a way to reach a particular goal, which you got from learning, from doing things, and then packaging it. And it's not just technical packaging; it's about guardrails. It's about how do you get institutions on board, how do you make how do you make data available. There's a whole host of things. But think of it as a toolbox or a playbook for doing things. And then this is a global initiative. So we're going to work around the world and create multiple diffusion pathways and then share them with each other so that we can accelerate this thing. And Anthropic is part of that. We have Google as part of that. Gates Foundation is there. UNDP is there. The Kenyans. It's a global coalition. Because what we learned from the agriculture experience, we worked with Maharashtra on their agri stack, which is called Mahavistar, and that took us 9 months to figure out how to make it work safely at scale. Using the same learning, it was done in Ethiopia, which took 3 months because we had the learning of Maharashtra, and then using the same learning at the PM was very keen to see it in animal husbandry, so we worked with Amul, and we did that in 3 weeks. So you can see the trajectory of time, right, from 9 months to 3 months to 3 weeks. So what that shows is that if we can do this lived experience and keep improving and package that and take it to the world, we'll move the implementation of AI to the real world. And that I think is strategically important for the world of AI.
So 100 by 30 is the new.
Yeah, 100 diffusion pathways by 2030. And we welcome everyone to join this moment.
You have many such catchphrases, but the one that really stood out to me at some time ago was India needs AI and AI needs India. We've spoken a bit about the India needs AI, but why does AI need India?
Because this is where we're going to show it working. I think because of the history of India's digital journey, and thanks to the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, who is the biggest champion of all the work that's going on, we have a political leadership that's committed. We have technologists. We have enough people with the right value system to make this happen. And we have done this before. And therefore, India will be where you'll see most of the deployment of AI in a tangible way, where farmers are able to make more money, where children learn better, where healthcare is better, where people talk in their own language, so you have universal access. So this is where you're going to show this. And the world needs this to be shown, and the AI companies need this to be shown because they have to show real stuff where this is working at scale for people. So I think, yeah, it's very important.
Dario, if I can ask you, if you were to rewrite Machines of Loving Grace, which is a beautiful 20,000 word or something essay for India, if you were to think about, what is that utopic vision of what AI could be for India, what would it be? I mean, obviously not 20,000 words, but whatever few ideas you could have now.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of what was there was universal, but there are some things that I would accentuate that are possible when you have such a large population for running, running this kind of large possibility of experiments, right? You have here a very large population for kind of studying and improving human health. There's world-class medical research. So I think I would double down especially on some of the sections about accelerating the cures for diseases. We just had Demis Hassabis, who has basically solved the protein folding problem with AI and kind of shown us all the way. And what we need are like 50 improvements like that. And the hope is working together between the AI developers and the folks who diffuse AI and do the actual medical research. Can all of us working together between the AI companies and folks in India really accelerate progress. I would also say accelerating the rate of economic development. There is so much technical potential and technical adeptness in India. And it actually almost seems like a perfect case study for the idea that AI could really accelerate economic growth, because it seems like the base ingredients are kind of all there, and AI could help to tie them together. So, in the developed world, I've wondered, well, could AI lead us to 10% growth rates, which sounds absurd, but that the thing I imagined in the positive scenario of machines of loving grace. But I think here in India, there's a lot of catch-up growth to be done. There's an enormous amount of technical potential and ability, and as I'm seeing, there's this eagerness to adopt AI. So India is one of the few places in the world where I wonder, could there be 20 or 25% growth, which is, sounds absurd, is unknown anywhere in the world. But as I think about this, it kind of stacks all the factors for a very bullish picture of how that growth could happen. So, I think I could imagine being in India being one of the countries in the world that most embodies this. Certainly, the large country that most embodies this.
And Nandan, with all of these things, there needs to be some unlock. So if you were to advise governments of the world, governments of India, governments of the global south, what should they do to unlock this 20-25% growth that Dario dreams of?
I don't know
for
about
India?
25 and all that. If I get 10, I'll be happy. But I think there are a number of things. Obviously, I think people before have talked about the need to create massive compute. We need to bring in the models. I think the focus has to be on inclusion. I think this AI has to carry everybody. Everybody must feel it. Everybody must benefit from it. And that's why I think the language is very important. We want people to be able to speak to the computer in their language, in their dialect, mixing English, Hindi, Tamil, whatever. That needs to be done. I think that's a big thing. And then I think making agents work for people. I think if we can make agents work for people, then it means more inclusion, because they can get complex things done because you're hiding all the sophistication behind the agent. So I think there are a lot of things we can do, which you'll see now in the coming years. We already have 3 or 4 examples in agriculture, in healthcare, in language, in education, in electricity. We have a very good example of P2P trading. So I think all these are examples of how AI will actually benefit people. And then I think, as to Dario's point, India is a country which is very positive about technology in general and AI in particular. And we need to take advantage of that and not let them down by giving them truly transformative applications using AI, which you will see in the next 2 to 3 years.
Nandan, Dario, thank you so much. What a lovely conversation.
Thank you. That's great.
is a vast country with great stores of both critical minerals and rare earth elements. There is lots of opportunity for Canada to work with India and to help supply India's needs as it grows bigger and better and faster. Thank you.
How is important, sir, in mineral land sector? How is important?
I'm sorry?
How is important?
Why is it important? It's important because all the new technology that we're developing today requires critical minerals, and critical minerals require special skills and abilities, and Canada has all of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Has a very good relationship, and today you joined a very important summit in critical minerals. How do you see this, and what is your comment on that?
Canada and India have a wonderful relationship.
मुझे विश्वास है कि यह समिट एक ह्यूमन सेंट्रिक, सेंसिटिव ग्लोबल एआई इकोसिस्टम के निर्माण में अहम भूमिका निभाएगा। फ्रेंड्स, हम इतिहास पर नजर डालें तो पता चलता है कि इंसान ने हर डिसरप्शन को एक नए अवसर में बदला है। आज हमारे सामने फिर ऐसा ही अवसर आया है। हमें मिलकर इस डिसरप्शन को मानवता के सबसे बड़े अवसर के रूप में बदल देना है। फ्रेंड्स, भारत बुद्ध की धरती है और भगवान बुद्ध ने कहा था, राइट एक्शन कम्स फ्रॉम राइट अंडरस्टैंडिंग। इसलिए ये बहुत आवश्यक है कि हम साथ मिलकर ऐसा रोड मैप बनाएं जिससे एआई का सही इंपैक्ट दिखे। और सही इंपैक्ट तभी आता है जब हम सही समय पर सही नियत से सही निर्णय लेते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, कोविड ग्लोबल पैंडेमिक के समय दुनिया ने देखा है कि जब हम एक दूसरे के साथ खड़े होते हैं तो असंभव भी संभव हो जाता है। वैक्सीन विकास से लेकर सप्लाई चेन तक, डेटा साझा करने से लेकर जीवन बचाने तक सहयोग ने ही समाधान दिया। टेक्नोलॉजी कैसे मानवता की सेवा का माध्यम बन सकता है, ये हमने भारत में कोविड काल में देखा है। हमारा जो डिजिटल वैक्सीनेशन प्लेटफॉर्म था, उसने करोड़ों लोगों को समय पर वैक्सीनेट कराने में बहुत मदद की। हमारे यूपीआई ने उन मुश्किल परिस्थितियों में भी ये सुनिश्चित किया कि लोग आसानी से ऑनलाइन ट्रांजैक्शन करते रहे। यूपीआई ने भारत में डिजिटल डिवाइड को दूर करने में भी बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाई है। बीते वर्षों में भारत ने एक वाइब्रेंट डिजिटल पब्लिक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाया है। हम इसे दुनिया के साथ भी शेयर कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारे लिए टेक्नोलॉजी पावर का नहीं बल्कि सेवा का माध्यम है। पावर नहीं, एम्पावर करना। एआई की दिशा भी ऐसी होनी चाहिए जैसे पूरी मानवता का कल्याण हो। फ्रेंड्स, अतीत में टेक्नोलॉजी ने डिवीजन क्रिएट किए, लेकिन वर्तमान में एआई टेक्नोलॉजी सबके लिए सुलभ हो, सबकी पहुंच में हो, यह हमारा लक्ष्य होना चाहिए। इसलिए आज जब हम एआई के फ्यूचर पर चर्चा कर रहे हैं तो हमें ग्लोबल साउथ की आकांक्षाओं और प्राथमिकताओं को भी एआई गवर्नेंस के केंद्र में रखना होगा। एक्सलेंसी, युग चाहे कोई भी रहा हो, एथिक्स हमेशा ही चर्चा के केंद्र में रहा है। अंतर बस इतना आया है कि पहले अनएथिकल बिहेवियर का दायरा बहुत छोटा होता था, लेकिन एआई में इसका दायरा असीमित है, अनलिमिटेड है। इसलिए एआई के लिए हमें एथिकल बिहेवियर और नॉर्म्स का दायरा भी असीमित बनाना होगा। एआई कंपनियों के सामने बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है। प्रॉफिट के साथ साथ पर्पज पर भी फोकस हो, ऐसे एथिकल कमिटमेंट की बहुत आवश्यकता है। व्यक्तिगत स्तर पर एआई हमारी लर्निंग, इंटेलिजेंस और इमोशंस को प्रभावित कर रही है। एक्सलेंसी, एआई के एथिकल उपयोग के लिए मेरे 3 सुझाव हैं। फर्स्ट, डेटा सॉवरेनिटी को रिस्पेक्ट करते हुए एआई ट्रेनिंग के लिए एक डेटा फ्रेमवर्क बने। जैसे एआई में कहा जाता है, गार्बेज इन, गार्बेज आउट। अगर डेटा सुरक्षित, संतुलित, विश्वसनीय नहीं होगा तो आउटपुट भी भरोसेमंद नहीं होगा। इसलिए ग्लोबल ट्रस्टेड डेटा फ्रेमवर्क जरूरी है। सेकंड, एआई प्लेटफॉर्म अपने सेफ्टी रूल्स बहुत क्लियर और ट्रांसपेरेंट रखे। हमें ब्लैक बॉक्स के बदले ग्लास बॉक्स अप्रोच चाहिए, जहां सेफ्टी रूल्स देखे और वेरीफाई किए जा सके। तब अकाउंटेबिलिटी भी क्लियर होगी और बिजनेस में एथिकल बिहेवियर को भी बूस्ट मिलेगा। थर्ड, एआई रिसर्च में पेपर क्लिप प्रॉब्लम का उदाहरण दिया जाता है। अगर किसी मशीन को सिर्फ पेपर क्लिप बनाने का लक्ष्य दे दिया जाए तो वह उसका एक काम के लिए दुनिया के सारे रिसोर्सेज को दांव पर लगाकर भी वही काम करती रहेगी। इसलिए एआई को क्लियर ह्यूमन वैल्यूज और गाइडेंस की जरूरत है। टेक्नोलॉजी पावरफुल है, लेकिन डायरेक्शन हमेशा मानव ही तय करेगा। फ्रेंड्स, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, एआई की ग्लोबल जर्नी में एस्पिरेशनल इंडिया एआई की बड़ी भूमिका है और अपने इस दायित्व को समझते हुए भारत आज बड़े कदम उठा रहा है। अपने एआई मिशन के माध्यम से आज भारत में 38,000 जीपीएस मौजूद हैं और अब अगले 6 महीनों में हम 24,000 जीपीयूज और लगाने जा रहे हैं। हम अपने स्टार्टअप्स को बहुत ही अफोर्डेबल रेट्स पर वर्ल्ड क्लास कंप्यूटिंग पावर उपलब्ध करा रहे हैं। हमने एक एआई कोष भी बनाया है। इसके माध्यम से 7,500 से अधिक डेटा सेट्स और 270 एआई मॉडल्स को नेशनल रिसोर्स के रूप में शेयर किया गया है। फ्रेंड्स, एआई को लेकर भारत की दिशा स्पष्ट है, भारत का विचार स्पष्ट है। एआई पूरी मानवता की भलाई के लिए एक शेयर्ड रिसोर्स है। हमें मिलकर ऐसा एआई फ्यूचर बनाना होगा जो इनोवेशन को आगे बढ़ाए, इंक्लूजन को मजबूत करें और ह्यूमन वैल्यूज का समावेश करके आगे बढ़े। जब टेक्नोलॉजी और ह्यूमन ट्रस्ट साथ साथ चलेंगे तो एआई का सही इंपैक्ट दुनिया पर दिखेगा।
तो यहां पर प्रधानमंत्री
Is a vast country with great stores of both critical minerals and rare earth elements. There is lots of opportunity for Canada to work with India and to help supply India's needs as it grows bigger and better and faster. Thank you.
How is important?
I'm sorry?
How is important?
Why is it important? It's important because all the new technology that we're developing today requires critical minerals, and critical minerals require special skills and ability. Is a vast country with great stores of both critical minerals and rare earth elements. There is lots of opportunity for Canada to work with India and to help supply India's needs as it grows bigger and better. It's important because all the new technology that we're developing today requires critical minerals, and critical minerals require special skills and abilities, and Canada has all of them. Canada and India have a wonderful relationship, and it's growing every day.
So how do you see the the critical minerals?
We have lots of critical minerals. India has lots of need. That's the simple formula. We can help.
So any specifics India and Canada go forward in critical mineral? Any specific?
Coal, cobalt, lithium, all of those things that I talked about upstairs are areas where we can work together.
Okay. And how do you
excuse me, I need to make a phone call.
Thank you.
डोमेस्टिक मार्केट से कब तक होगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट कितना होगा?
चलो चलेंगे। गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया माइनिंग मिनिस्ट्री के एनएफटीडीसी के बहुत सालों से रिसर्च करके आज परमानेंट मैग्नेट का एक टेक्नोलॉजी इन्वेट किया है। उसके अभी प्राइवेट सेक्टर के साथ वो टेक्नोलॉजी देकर प्रोडक्शन का प्रोसेस चल रहे हैं। इक्विपमेंट्स भी ऑलमोस्ट एस्टैब्लिश किया है। इस साल एंडिंग तक प्रोडक्शन करना चाहिए, इसके दृष्टिकोण से काम आगे बढ़ रही है। ये बहुत बड़ा अचीवमेंट भारत का होगा।
सर एक इम्पोर्टेंट सवाल ये है, डेटा सेंटर्स इंडिया में जिस तरीके से आ रही हैं और एआई समिट ऑनगोइंग हो रहा है, अडानी ने $100 बिलियन का इन्वेस्टमेंट का है, तो आपको क्या लगता है कि कोल को रीथिंक करना पड़ेगा माइनिंग के लिए?
रीथिंक
और ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा माइनिंग के लिए
हम तैयार है। भारत में अभी कोल का प्रोडक्शन का कोई कमी नहीं है। हम कोल प्रोडक्शन डिमांड से ज्यादा प्रोडक्शन कर रहे हैं। हमारा कोल कंपनी के पास आजाद के बाद पहली बार इतने रिजर्व्स है, जगह नहीं है रखने के लिए, क्योंकि ज्यादा नहीं रख सकते हैं, ज्यादा दिन नहीं रख सकते हैं, क्योंकि क्वालिटी भी कम होगा और कुछ एक्सीडेंट्स का भी प्रॉब्लम होता है। पावर कंपनीज के पास भी कोल रखने का जगह नहीं है। मेरा माइनिंग सेक्टर कोल कंपनीज के पास भी कोल रखने का जगह नहीं है। उतना कोल प्रोडक्शन करके हम रखे हैं और ज़्यादा जितने भी होगा हमारा मिनिस्ट्री आदरणीय मोदी जी के आदेश पर हम जितने भी कोल चाहिए उतना प्रोडक्शन करने के लिए हम तैयार हैं।
सर, एक इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है
किरण रिजिजू राहुल गांधी
सर, यूएस ने पैक्स सिलिका के लिए जो इनवाइट किया है, पैक्स सिलिका इनिशिएटिव ऑन क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स, उसके लिए जो इनवाइट किया है उसका
वो कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री हमारे से चर्चा किया है। कॉमर्स मिनिस्ट्री इसके विषय पर ऑलरेडी मीडिया को जनता को बता चुके हैं, उसका काम चल रही है।
यूएस डील में
अब क्रिटिकल मिनरल प्रोसेसिंग यूनिट आना है,
हम तैयार अभी ये गुजरात में है, आंध्र प्रदेश में है, चर्चा कर रहे हैं। 2 स्टेट में जाना
और सर ये कॉपर प्रोडक्शन को आप कैसे देखते हैं?
अच्छा ही देखते हैं।
हाउ मच डू यू सी, क्योंकि हम लार्ज पार्ट ऑफ कॉपर बाहर से इम्पोर्ट करते हैं, हम कंट्री में बढ़ाने के लिए क्या क्या
अभी ऑलरेडी कॉपर का भी नया कॉपर ब्लॉक्स को प्रोडक्शन का शुरुआत किया है अभी और आने वाले दिन में उसको आत्मनिर्भर बनाना है, इसके मिलकर काम करेंगे।
सर, एलसीएमएम में 15,000 करोड़ से क्या आगे इंक्रीज होगा, कुछ ऐसा है?
अभी हमारा पीएसयूज भी इसमें लगा रहे, लगभग 32,000 करोड़ है अभी।
Poisonous creation. So your take on this?
Look, Pinarayi Vijayan has 45 days more as Chief Minister, and he knows on the 46th day he is going to have to move his residence. He is going to find something else to do. People of Kerala have decided that Pinarayi Vijayan is going to be thrown out of his Chief Ministership. Now, 10 years he has been Chief Minister. He has spent 22 lakh crores of public money in this 10 years. And today Kerala is a disaster as far as the economy goes, highest unemployment, highest inflation, and the state is not able to have any resources generated because of corruption and has to depend on increasing the bar timings for the state's economy to survive. Now at this stage, this gentleman, this Chief Minister, is a very senior leader, and therefore I will not say anything disrespectful. A man who, when Hamas came into Kozhikode and addressed 1,000 Muslim youth and radicalized them, said Article 19 freedom of expression. Constitution guarantees that. When a movie came out which is against the BJP, where we did not protest, we did not say anything, he said Article 19 freedom of expression. So how is it that when somebody else makes a movie against his political thinking, it suddenly becomes a problem? This is hypocrisy. This is basically an attempt to distract the people of Kerala from his 10 years of failure. Nobody, and I respectfully want to tell Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, nobody has appointed you protector. There is no need for you to act like you're a protector of any community. There is a constitution, there are courts, there are other mechanisms. Every Indian today, every Malayali is given the same fundamental right. You don't need to rush in and pretend that you are some savior. So stop making fools out of people. This movie will operate, this movie will be shown, because just as much as you have the right to watch a movie, I have the right to watch a movie. Just as any director has a right to make a movie, this director also has a right to make a movie. If you have a problem with it and if there is something illegal in the movie, go to the court. But don't try and threaten people. Don't try and use your Chief Minister's position to create fear amongst people. That we will not allow.
Your remarks on Sabrimala Gold.
Look, Sabrimala, the gold scam and in March 14, the Supreme Court's requirement of the state government to make clear its position on the entry of women into Sabrimala is certainly two very important issues for which Pinarayi Vijayan will have to try and look to wriggle out of this issue. We have maintained, and the BJP NDA position will be proved to be correct. In 2018, when they tried to do this drama and tried to destroy and tried to disrupt the traditions, sacred traditions of Sabrimala, we said at that time, don't do it. It is wrong. Many of our leaders, including my predecessors, K. Surendran, went to jail. Even today, over 3,000 Vishwasis, Ayyappa Bhakts have cases against them. But knowing fully well, he now desperately needs Hindu vote support. He is doing all this drama of having an Ayyappa Sangamam. Now he will have to come forth and be very clear. What is he going to do? What is his position? This politics of trying to make fools out of Malayalis and telling them things to distract them is over. That time is over. Now he'll have to stand up and he'll have to take a position and say, this is my position, and defend that position. Our position is very clear from 2018. What you did is wrong. Our position from October 3rd onwards, when the Sabrimala looting scam came out, is that the CPM will try and hide this scam, will bury it under the carpet. And that is why the CPM leader, Govindam Kuti, 4 days ago says, no, this issue is over. The issue is not over, my dear friend. Issue is only over when people go to jail. The issue is only over when the Devasam ministers who are in charge of Sabrimala are indicted, prosecuted and sent to jail. And then, I assure you, Mr. Pinarayi Vijayan, then the issue will be over, not before that.
My last question, sir. Congress is saying that we will hear to Sanjay Raut on he made remarks of the leadership and on India Alliance.
Look, my own view on this is very clear that India Alliance earlier was UPA. They were the most corrupt political formation in the history of India. When that brand became untenable, shameful, they changed the brand to India Alliance. India Alliance, they tried to project Rahul Gandhi as a Prime Minister. Rahul Gandhi lost every election under his leadership. Now they will move that ball and give it to some other Bakra in the India Alliance, and they will rename the India Alliance into something else. But essentially they are the same. What was UPA is today's Indi, and what is UPA and Indi will be tomorrow some new formation under maybe the soon to be unemployed DMK Chief Minister.
एआई समिट से गलगोटिया यूनिवर्सिटी का स्टॉल खाली कराया गया। अब सरकार की तरफ से आदेश दिया गया है कि एग्जीबिटर्स को बताना पड़ेगा कि ये प्रोडक्ट उनका नहीं है या कहाँ से ये प्रोडक्ट को लेके आए हैं। इस बीच ये गलगोटिया यूनिवर्सिटी की भी सफाई आई, लेकिन जो नेता विपक्ष राहुल गांधी उन्होंने इसको पूरे इस एक्सरसाइज को PR एक्सरसाइज है बताया, जिसके चक्कर में देश की खासी जो है वो असम्मान जो है पूरे विदेश में विदेश तक फैला।
मोदी सरकार बहुत मासूम सरकार है। एक यूनिवर्सिटी जो एक साल में 1,000 पेटेंट फाइल करती है और 0 पेटेंट प्राप्त करती है, उसको मोदी सरकार के लोग जाकर, मंत्री जाकर सेंटर ऑफ एक्सीलेंस का खिताब देते हैं। एक यूनिवर्सिटी जो लगातार झूठ बोलती है, जो इस तरह के रिसर्च पेपर प्रस्तुत करती आई है, जो इसकी जो वैज्ञानिक बिरादरी है उसमें कोई उसका सम्मान नहीं है, उसको प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जाकर देश की सर्वश्रेष्ठ यूनिवर्सिटी का खिताब देते हैं। तो किसमें क्या हैरानी है कि पहले उन्होंने देश के छात्रों को मूर्ख बनाया, देश की सरकार को मूर्ख बनाया, अब वो पूरी दुनिया को मूर्ख बनाने लग गए थे। तो ये तो खुलासा होना ही था एक दिन। लेकिन जहां तक बात है एआई सबमिट की, तो एआई सबमिट एक सीरियस चीज है। भारत सुपर पावर है आईटी का, भारत डेटा का सबसे बड़ा जनरेटर है। दुनिया में हमको ये बताना था कि हम जो हैं वो एआई युग के अंदर दुनिया में राज करने के लिए तैयार हैं। ये सबमिट उसके लिए हुआ था और वहां पे आपने इसको एक स्कूल लेवल की साइंस एग्जीबिशन बना दिया। आपने जो आया उसको अनुमति दे दी कि पैसा दीजिए, जगह खरीदिए और जो मन आए उसको वहां पे प्रदर्शित कीजिए। भारत इससे ज्यादा सीरियस है, भारत में एआई में इससे ज्यादा सीरियस काम हो रहा है, उसकी कहीं बात नहीं हो रही है। और जो बात हो रही है वो बचकाने मॉडल्स की, स्कूली छात्रों द्वारा बनाए गए मॉडल्स की बात हो रही है। और इसमें पूरे भारत के जो एक अवसर था अपने एआई को और एआई की अपनी तैयारी को शोकेस करने का,